I've been a professional speaker for about 12 years now, and this is one of the first times in a long time that my heart flutters when I'm actually on stage in a hotel. But it was during my exploring the contrast of alcoholism that brought me to Abraham, and it was a life coach and as well as my sponsor that first let me hear you. And I heard you the first time from my sponsor, and I listened to one of the CDs he gave me, and I didn't like the way you sounded, so I turned it off after about 30 seconds, and I'm like, I don't like her accent, I don't like the way she's talking, and I guess I just wasn't ready then. And then my life coach turned me on to you again, and I downloaded some YouTube videos, and I'm like, all right, maybe I should start listening, and it really was the beginning of my awakening. And it was during, one of my...
Wouldn't that be an interesting thing? We're just going to play with you briefly. If your perception of our odd sound had kept you from exploring further and discovering who you really are. You sort of made the point, thank you very much, that we were making before. It's hard to get past what you think about things, but things that are different are probably weird.
Well, then I'm weird. And for the last few years, I've been studying you and listening to you, and for a while I turned you off thinking I just need to relax and start allowing. And one of the things I never really did was stop and meditated. And I tried it, and I'm one of those ones where my mind races and races and races.
And therefore, you're one of the ones that keeps all of your resistance active. Because when your mind just races and races and races, law of attraction keeps dishing up the same things it's been racing about. So you can't get past it. And even though you want to, you can't see the tree for the tree.
Okay. So it was about 40 days, and after a bad experience with an ex-girlfriend, that I decided to jump right back into Abraham and start listening again. And for about 40 days, I consciously meditated every day.
Wait, was it raining?
Probably.
It's all right.
So I consciously meditated every day for about 40 days now, and I do see my vibration getting higher. I feel like I'm having, good day after good day after good day, and I'm starting to notice the little things, like originally when I noticed...
And we're going to interrupt you very briefly again, because during that time of setting time aside every day to quiet your mind, your vibration was shifting. Your resistant opinions that were keeping good things from you, that were hindering you in that way, became less and less active, and therefore less and less a player in your vibrational point of attraction. So that what you've been asking for had an easier path in, because you stopped practicing the blockage of the path. That's what meditation does. It helps you to stop practicing the blocking of the path of least resistance, or the path of most allowance. Yes.
And so it was, when I first noticed, law of attraction in my personal life was a negative thing. I was at a hotel at a conference, and the first couple I talked to, or lady I talked to, was extremely negative towards me, and she was a real B word towards me. And I became that B
butterfly?
word. Yes, butterfly. and some blue glass. And I became that B word right back to her. And for the next, the whole weekend, I kept getting the same kind of people in front of me, who were just negative and negative and negative. And at the end of that weekend, I actually just laughed, and I said, oh, I guess it's true. And, lately I've been noticing it again, but more on a positive note. My dad needed something to do with the battery, and next thing you know, that night I went to a gas station I never normally go to, and I met the guy he wanted me to talk to, and I found the answer to his question to his battery, and then he asked me another question. That next day, another guy walked in, and I got the answer to that. But what I've been working on for the last 2.5 years is a barbecue invention, and it's basically what I set my whole basis for my financial freedom. It's what I want so much of all is for a company to come and buy this invention from me, so I can, do everything I want, and buy my house and my property in Tennessee and my big black truck, and become a big cowboy with a big hat, and travel the world, and own a beach house in Florida and an island in the Exumas in the Bahamas. And I want love, and I want to meet a beautiful girl, help a girl, and there's so many things I want to do, and it's this one thing that I love for this to come to
All
me,
right,
but
all right. So you heard his words, and it was fun, wasn't it? And a lot of it sounded really wonderful, and you did get on a somewhat positive rampage there for a little bit, following the negative rampage.
I could keep going on the positive.
We know that you can, but let's chew on this just a little bit. This is going to be really helpful to everyone. Sometimes you use the words to try to make something happen that you don't feel is happening. Now we're just going to cut right to it. You, through life, have put a whole lot of things in your vortex. Prosperity, all of the things that you were describing there, all those good things, relationship, loving relationship, uplifting another uplifting you, coming together in co-creation, fantastic abundance and prosperity and an empire and the freedom to explore the world in all of the ways that you want to do it. You've put all of it there, not just now, but over time, and a lot of it even recently. So it's all there. Can you feel how, when you were describing what you want, it was in an effort to be a vibrational match to it, but that somehow in the very effort of wanting to be the vibrational match to all the things that you wanted, you were actually activating the very resistance that's been the only thing that's keeping you from it anyway. Could you feel it? In an easy way to understand it, it's called trying too hard, or it's faking it till you make it, which isn't exactly what we mean, but sort of kind of. But now think about what we were talking about before. Think about the vortex. Think about the receptive mode. Think about satisfaction. And so now we're just going to ask you, first time that we have processed this in just this way. We want all of you in on this, and you too, of course. So in that rampaging, we just want to ask you this simple question. How much true satisfaction was happening in the moment? How really satisfied were you? Or were you dissatisfied on your way to satisfaction? Because they could feel that your comments were coming from not being where you want to be, but sure talking about where you want to be. Yeah, you sure were talking about where you want to be from a place of not being there. And when you remember that the universe is taking you at your now vibration, then what you're emanating was not satisfaction. Therefore, it was not receptive mode. Therefore, it was trying to overcome perceptions in a way that never overcomes them with words. A lot of people offer a lot of affirmations. And often we are asked, is offering an affirmation a good thing? We really think it is. Lots of decks of affirmation cards out there on the product tables. In other words, beautiful pictures and wonderful words. But if you sit and even look through those beautiful decks of cards, some on prosperity, some on physical well-being, every subject that's important to you, relationships, they're all out there. But if you sit and look through those decks of cards that have been particularly culled from everything that we've said about those subjects, that are kissed and blessed with the spirit of source energy, if you sit and look through them from your place of loneliness, from your place of dissatisfaction, from your place of not having what you want, all they do is antagonize you. Which is why people walk out of your seminars and why you didn't want to listen to our recordings. Doesn't matter how much well-being there is, and oh, there's a vortex full of it there for you. You heard that, didn't you? So it is really as simple as this. You don't have to find the how or the way to the financial backing or all of the things that you think are necessary before this thing really kicks into high gear. Because you've already created it, and the universe has already figured out the path for that. All you have to do is not be in the way of the path, which means all you have to do, now you've done all the work. You did all the work in step one. Did we tell you about step one? Step one's when you're living the contrast, and that's when you launch the rocket, and that's when you throw it into the vortex. You did all of the work in step one. You do 100% of your creating, close to it, in step one. Source does the rest. Law of attraction does the rest. Then all you've got to do, oh, you created it. Oh, you want it in your experience. Oh, there's the rub. Abraham, how do I get the money out of the vortex and into my bank account? You do that by being satisfied now. So can you think about that barbecue contraption and experience in its current state and feel satisfaction, or are there too many unanswered questions for you to feel satisfied? So our question to you is thinking about that barbecue the path of least resistance for you to get into a state of satisfaction, which is the only thing that matters? We didn't say satisfaction about the barbecue. We said satisfaction. We didn't say satisfaction about the girlfriend. We said satisfaction. Can you find anything in this world that you could focus upon, or any way to not focus at all if you can't find anything in the world to focus upon? In other words, if you could find satisfaction, we wouldn't teach meditation, but you can't. You're too full of too many thoughts that too many people have put into your head. You're under the influence of too many opinions that don't let you let in what you want. So that's why meditation is so powerful. When you quiet your mind, you find satisfaction. And you know how we know? Because when you're not thinking about stuff that is unsatisfying, you feel satisfaction. And when you're meditating and not thinking about stuff, then your vibration rises to that place of vibrational satisfaction.
So does that mean I have to meditate about 25 times a day?
For 40 days and 40 nights. No. It means we'd rather see you in a state of appreciation than in a state of meditation. We're just asking you to find some way. We're asking all of you because this is the first moment in time that we've really discussed this in this poignant way. Thank you very much. Here's the questions. If my life and its contrast causes me to do all of the work of deciding what I want, and into the vortex goes a flash, a flash, a flash, a flash, a flash, a rocket of desire, and if or since my inner being is all over that, and since the laws of the universe and my inner being have already created the mechanism, the path, the financing, the marketing plan, since all of that has already been vibrationally created, and if my singular work now, because I already did all the rest of it, is to get into the receptive mode so that I can let that come out and play with me, one good idea at a time, or one impulse at a time, then doesn't that mean all I have to do is find a way to be satisfied right now? So if you were prone to just sitting in a state of satisfaction, we wouldn't be talking about meditation. You have resistant stuff on your mind. You have stuff in the way on your mind. You see, in 20 or 25 minutes of meditating, and you manage to focus on something that is so inconsequential, but you're determined to focus upon this inconsequential thing, a sound in the room, a steady sound in the room, or something, even your own breathing. What happens is you take your attention away, and therefore for the moment, not 25 times a day, but for the moment, you've deactivated that resistant belief. And each time you do that, the leverage of alignment is so huge. Just a little bit of detachment or disengagement from those beliefs that are hindering moves you so far down the road toward what you are looking for. You know it from what you've been teaching others and what you've experienced. You said it to us in very clear terms here today. Those days where it just feels magical because the impulses that are coming to you are just exactly what you've been looking for. So you felt on that day that you went there and you got information about the question your father had asked. Not just information, exact information, and you knew it as you were hearing it. This is the nugget I was looking for. This nugget just came to me out of nowhere. It's not something that I was doing anything about in the moment. I wasn't scripting about it. I wasn't affirming about it. I didn't go off, I'm going to go find the information that my father needs so that he'll love me all the more. There was none of that going on. You received it in a moment of non-resistance. Now, we could go back and figure out what was happening in that moment that caused you to be in a moment of non-resistance, but you were in a moment of non-resistance. So what we're saying to you is, if you can practice through meditation moments of non-resistance every day, what happens is you begin to get the vibrational hang of what it feels like to be non-resistant. And what happens is, with a little bit of resistance gone, a whole lot of beliefs shift at vibrational levels that you don't even know is happening. Your whole point of attraction keeps shifting. Of course, it's the same thing as saying the closer you get to something you want, the further you get from what you don't want. Or the further from something you don't want you are, the closer to what you do want you are. And everything's relative.